I was just about to start the game. Oh, right, okay. Okay. So you've seen nothing of the game. Oh, it's such a shame. Flynn turned up. Honestly, you won't believe what happened while you were away. It was incredible. Flynn turned up. He actually played with me for a little bit. We had a lovely time, and now he's gone away again because the stream died. So you've missed him arriving and having a go at this whole game. All right. So if I was about to play the game, had I shown the little inserts? Had I shown, if I can show that, the pause, play, or freeze, unfreeze insert that will allow us to freeze and pause and unpause the game? Had I shown you that? Died again. Has it died? Okay. It's working. Right, we're up, right? We're up. Oh my God. Yeah, we're live. I think we're live. Okay. Please tell me if we're actually live and working at the moment. As far as it says that there's 2 of 3. We saw the inserts. Okay. All right. Fabulous. All right. Well, in that case, I'm just going to play the game. So I think I may have mentioned also that there is a second insert for this game for the left controller that gives us control over the gates, to open and close the gates, and also allows us to warp. So I want to try those out as well. There's also, this is a game that does have different game modes and different options within those game modes. So I may not try all of those out, but there are a few that I do want to have a look at. But before I do that, I'm just going to play the game and show you how it works, okay? It's a real shame as well, because there was, as I played it before when the stream died, there was a situation where I was in a real tight spot and I seemed to they seemed to glitch through one of the enemies, and I've never seen that before. So I don't think that was documented anywhere, and I think we may have missed it. So let's see if it happens again. So let's reset this game. So this is the basic game. This is option 1. So game 1, option 1. You can see at the top. So we've got 0 scores. Game 1, option 1, 3 lives, and there's 5. Those are goldfish bowls on the left, and 5. I don't know what those are. I think they're supposed to be fruit of some kind, but they look like bombs on the right. And so the goldfish bowls will turn me from a cat into a dog catching van, and the fruit give me bonus points, and they appear. So the goldfish bowls appear in the middle, and the fruit appear at the bottom of the screen. Okay? There we go. Right, so I am the cat, and the dogs are chasing me. Oh. That was a great start. So the goldfish bowl has appeared, and I was far too greedy, and I ran straight towards it and got munched by a dog, which was no good. So let's try this. Okay. So did you see those 2 dogs? Even once I got the van, I did just brush that one. When I got the van, they actually carried on chasing me and ran straight into my van, even though it was certain death. So the evasion algorithm is not very good, or non-existent. Also, I'll show this again when I pick up, if I can manage it. There we go. So when I become the van, I have to keep checking to make sure that the stream's still running. When I become the van, there is a countdown timer that appears at the top in the kennel that counts down from 5 seconds on level 1. So every time I complete a level, a screen, I will get half a second knocked off that countdown timer. down to a minimum of, I think, 3 seconds. So in that respect, it gets harder. I have less time as the van. Woo! Really want the goldfish bowl to turn up. Oh, caught me. Okay, this is my last life. There's the goldfish bowl. As I said last week, I mean, obviously there are an absolute ton of Pac Man clones. Pac Man is one of those games where if you don't have a positive controller, it's really frustrating. And that's what makes this game so playable. The controller is really precise. My van goes exactly where I want it to go. You know, there are plenty of other... Oh. Of course, I don't always go in the best place. Like, my intention is not always the best. But at least the controller's doing what I wanted to do. Okay, let's try this again. And this time I'm gonna try some of these features. So let's start with pause. So I'm gonna try pausing the game. Ah, there we go. And can you hear that? When this machine pauses, this freeze feature, it actually pauses everything that the machine is doing, including the sound output. So it doesn't cut the sound when you freeze it. Isn't that crazy? It actually says in some of the instructions when you freeze, you might want to turn down the volume on your TV when it's frozen. But you can freeze it in between it making a sound, in which case it's great. But most of the time, and these games, they seem to love having background noise going on. So most of these games have constant noise. They included sound routines in the main program loop, and they just continually make noise. So when you pause it, chances are you'll get a note while it's paused. So that's the thing. Actually, let me just see. While it's paused, I can't do anything at all. So I can't try out any of the other functions of the game while it's paused. So I'm going to unpause it or unfreeze. This was before pausing the game was a common phrase. So it's freeze and unfreeze. Give me a goldfish bowl, please. Oh, so the other thing that I can do is I can try and close gates. There we go. So I've closed a bunch of gates at the bottom of the screen. Oh. Come on. There we go. Let's open the gates back up again because I want to go chasing. Now, the thing is, you would think that that's a good feature, and I'm sure the game designers thought that's a great feature to be able to close the gates off. Oh, let me just go and get this guy before my time runs out. To close the gates off. You know, when they're chasing you, and to open the gates up when you're chasing them. But actually, having the gates open all the time is probably better tactically anyway. Woo! Bye-bye. Because it's one of the things that I really love about this version of this Pac Man clone is that you do actually have a lot of options. Like, it's a very open maze, so that you just have escape routes, and as soon as you close the gates, you limit your escape routes more than you. Oh. Maybe I should have closed the gates. Yeah, pause with sound. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. They're really, like these machines, they're learning this stuff from first principles. They're coming across problems that you wouldn't even imagine existed because you know, these problems are solved, you know, to such an extent. It's just obvious. But this is possibly the very first implementation of a games console with a pause feature. I can't think of an earlier one. And of course it wasn't built in. This is the pause feature is not built into the hardware of the console. There's no button for it. But it was possible with this console, and so game designers built it in and provided a... Oh, I'm going to be greedy. I've got a second and a half. Lunch. Am I going to make it back up in time? I'm going to turn into a cat. Ha. Hey, Mike. Thanks for coming back. I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I hope it doesn't go again. I'm really worried that it's going to go again. Oh, here we go. Come on. Keep coming towards me. Yeah, they kind of... behaviour is very strange. Like, when they're chasing you, if they're close behind, they just carry on chasing you right into the van. And if they're a bit further away, they just kind of loiter. Oh! Oh, I should have been keeping an eye on that, shouldn't I? That was bad gaming. Come on, goldfish ball. There we go. Got them all without even needing to move. Got catnip all over the game field now. Oh, 1 second. Ooh. That's it. Keep going that way. Keep following me. Goldfish ball. Oh. Gonna make it. All right. Yeah. I think a lot of others did. It seems like, I don't know when it started or which game it started. Obviously, I think, what did I say at the beginning? This is game 24 or something. So I think the practice was quite well established by the time this game came out. But I don't know what the first one was. And yeah, I guess Space Attack from last week. That was I think that was cartridge number 2. And that had a freeze feature that they didn't include in the original documentation for the clever girl. There we go. Yeah, that had a freeze feature that they didn't include in the original documentation for the game, and in the American, in the Emerson packaging, there's actually an additional insert that says this game has got a freeze feature. So I guess it was maybe that early. Maybe Space Attack was in fact the first game to have a freeze feature built in, and then after that, it was a fairly common thing to do in games that where it made sense, and they even included an insert so that you could pop it into the second controller to remind yourself which column of buttons was freeze and which column of buttons was unfreeze, I guess. But yeah, so that's it. So what do we have? We have a bunch of different games and a bunch of different options. So I want to have a look at those. We have a pause feature. We have a really good, engaging, kind of fast Pac Man game that isn't too hard. You know, I can usually get through, you know, 2, 3, maybe even 4 screens if I concentrate. Yeah, so I think freeze was advertised. I need to go back and look at the ads, but yeah, my impression is that they did make quite a big deal out of the fact that you could pause it because it was a feature that the Atari VCS didn't have. And I think this was positioned squarely to compete with the Atari, even though the Atari had been around for years already. But of course, it was an evolution of old technology. And then the Intellivision and the ColecoVision came out pretty much the same year. So And the Intellivision, I mean, in its architecture, it was actually a 16-bit machine. The games for ColecoVision and Intellivision and the Atari 5200, which was the VCS replacement, were, you know, they were a lot more sophisticated than these. But I think this is an interesting machine. I think in a lot of ways this is a more interesting machine than the Magnavox Odyssey 2 or the Philips VideoPac G7000, as it was called in Europe, which was based on an Intel processor and was a much more successful video console than this. Came out slightly earlier, but not by much, and had a very unique set of games because they were all based on a standard kind of character set that was built into the machine. So there's very little original graphical elements. All the games are made up of the standard set of graphical characters and sprite animations that were built into the ROM, into the machine itself. So so I mean, I love the VideoPac. I think it's a really fascinating and interesting machine. I especially love the crossover board game, video game series they did, the Master Strategy series, which I want to make some videos about because they're just brilliant fun, and a really interesting concept that no other manufacturer was even looking at, and was also completely in keeping with the original Odyssey, the Magnavox Odyssey, you know, the generation 0 of video games. But nonetheless, I think in a lot of ways this is a more interesting console because of the variation in games that it's got. I think it competes actually very, very well with the VCS. It's just that they came out, you know, it was 5 years too late in many ways. But anyway, I like this game. I think it's a really good fun game. But let's have a look at some of the other game modes quickly, and see what other options we've got. So I think the first game mode has everything. So it has gate and warp. So warp is one thing that we should look at. Okay. All right. So what it says about warp, let's start this again in game mode 0, or game mode 1. So game 1, option 1. In this mode, I have both. If I pick this up, no, I don't gain a new one. Okay. So if I press the middle column of buttons on my controller, it should warp. And so it's basically like hyperspace. Yeah. I reappear in a random location, but I also, every time I do that, I use up an apple. So those purple bombs are actually apples. And I have 5 of them at the beginning of the game. Although I'm down to 2 now for some reason. I don't understand why that is. And every time I warp, I use up an apple. I should have warped. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why I've only got 2 apples left. And also, when I pick an apple up from the bottom of the screen, I don't think I get a new one. I wonder if... Oh, wait a minute. So when an apple appears at the bottom of the screen, I don't think that... Is that not a new apple? Is that an apple that comes out of my stash of apples? Oh, I should have my finger on the warp button, shouldn't I? I wonder if that's actually coming out of my stash of apples. And if I don't go... Yeah, did you see that? So an apple has appeared at the bottom and it has left my apple stash. So I have been hemorrhaging apples here, which means I can't warp at the moment. So I need to go and retrieve my apple. Why cats are retrieving apples? Or vans, I don't know. Oh, but... Okay, so it didn't replenish my apple at all. Okay. So I need to see if I get a new set of 5 apples when I finish this level now. Oh! Oh, that's interesting. Slight glitch there. No, I don't. So I can't warp. I'm pressing the warp button. I can't warp. I've lost all my apples. No more warping for me. Ah. Sorry. That's a stroke of luck. Okay, so yeah, so it looks like I only get 2 seconds. It looks like I'm now down to just getting 2 seconds of time. Ooh. When I'm the van. Goldfish bowl, goldfish bowl, goldfish bowl, come on. Don't let me down. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, 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 no. I couldn't warp. That's the end. Okay. Okay. So, okay, so there's something going on with apples here. It says, push either button of warp on keyboard or any action switch on both sides. Oh, okay, so I can use the fire buttons to warp as well. That's good to know. This feature enables the cat to become invisible and disappear and then reappear randomly. However, each time you warp, you use up 1 apple. Only 5 apples are provided in each game and will be deducted after appeared randomly at the center of the bottom part of the screen or after you warped. Oh, I see. So every time an apple appears at the bottom, I lose 1 of my 5 apples. So really, I only have the warp feature at the beginning of the game. That's interesting. That's an interesting mechanic. That basically gives an advantage to beginner players at the beginning of the game, because you'd very, very quickly lose all of your apples as they appear at the bottom of the screen. Although, of course, you don't have to go and collect the apples straight away. You could leave them there, and maybe that reduces the amount or increases the amount of time before you lose another apple. Interesting. So in terms of options, okay, right. So game 1 has gate and warp. Game 2 only has warp. Game 3 only has gate, and game 4 has neither gate nor warp. So those are the 4 games. So I can select game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, and then it goes back to 1. Okay, so that has gate and warp. That has just warp. That has just gate. That has neither. Right, so I'm going to keep it with both. But then the options change. I think the options change the number of wraparound passages there are. Yeah, so okay. So there's 2 sets of options that control the number of passages. So from 3 at the beginning to 2 at the two at the top, 2 at the bottom, and then just 1. And then the same thing again, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and just 1. And option 8. And the difference between the first set of 4 and the second set of 4 is the red dog. Okay. So I'm going to choose game 1 and then option 5, because that has 3 passages, but it has a super dog. Okay. Everybody with this? Right, the red dog is the super dog. and moves much faster apparently, so let's see what it does. Okay, I can also warp with my trigger buttons. Okay, here comes the red dog. Oh my god. How? So the red dog is moving faster vertically. Oh, why didn't I press warp? That's exactly when I need to press warp. Haven't got the muscle memory yet. Oh my god. Okay, I need to concentrate. I'm watching the red dog. I'm trying to figure out how the red dog's moving. Haha. I'm just snuck in there. It's interesting that the others ran off, actually. That was much better evasive movement. Okay. Right, so I've lost an apple at the top because it's now at the bottom, so I'm going to go and get it. Oh, there's another goldfish bowl, so that's good news. I'm just about to run out. Red dog's coming down like crazy fast. So I just pipped it. Go and get yellow. Bye, yellow. I can come down here and hoover up the tunnel. Now, I'm going to be greedy. There's 2 seconds left, easily. Oh, it's not even seconds, is it? I don't know why it says seconds. It's like... yeah, it corresponds to something. Yeah, so the hardest level of this game, basically in terms of difficulty, is no gates, no warp. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I should warp. No gates, no warp. Is that game over? Yeah, it is. So no gates, no warp, 1 tunnel, fast red dog. That would be the hardest mode to play on. And that would be game mode 4 and option 8. There we go. So no gates, no warp, 1 tunnel, fast red dog. As I said though, I actually think it's possible that having the gates shut is a harder game than having the gates open. So potentially you could play a harder game by having it on game mode with the gate, but closing the gates. On this first screen, you do get a lot of time. Really, oh, there it is. Look, there it is. Oh, I'm gonna. Ah. I wonder if that's timed, because that's happened several times. It's a very good bit of game design if that's timed, so that you can, from the start, if there's a goldfish bowl there, get to it literally at a fraction before the super dog does. There we go. I hope the stream is still running. Let me know if you're enjoying this. Let me know what you think of this game as well. Am I wrong about this? Does it just look crap and old and boring, or do we think there's actually more to it than meets the eye? Whoops. Actually, one thing that is a bit annoying about it is, as far as I can tell, there are no extra lives. I would have expected to get an extra life at 20,000 at least, maybe not 10,000. Maybe. Well, I'm glad you're liking that, Mike, because you're getting to hear it quite a lot. It is. The sound effects are... That's it. That's game over, isn't it? So, yeah. That wasn't very good. All right. Yeah. I like this game. I think the sound effects are really good. And actually, the kind of, you know, the continual sound effects in the background aren't even too annoying. They lend it kind of a sense of urgency. I like this game. It's not bad. Certainly, you know, it's as good as a lot of equivalent games on the VCS, and I would say it's probably better than you know, Casey Munchkin and things like that on the video pack. So I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna call it quits there. I think that's a pretty good demonstration of it. Am I gonna play another round? What should I do? Should I play another round? I'm tempted to do what I said I was going to do before, actually, and play it on. So what would it be? It would be gate only, wouldn't it? It would be only gate is game 3. So game 3, option 8. Option 8, and then close the gates. So start. And close the gate. That red dog is... Oh, trapped. Stay there, red dog. Oh, it's interesting. They're all trapped down there now. Come on. Oh, one's got out. Oh, look how dangerous that is. Oh my god. Oh, I don't like this. This is... Oh, that's it. Can't warp. Yeah, I think this is hard. Is it an easy console to pick up and collect? So, as I said last week, I see it caught me on the vertical. Oh wow, this is so hard. This is hard. Yeah, playing with gates is hard. Yeah, I hadn't seen one of these consoles for an age, or you know, I'd heard about them, but I'd never seen one. I've had a saved search running on eBay for at least 18 months, maybe even a couple of years, and it had never received a hit. It was just sitting there in the background, and then I went and had a look at it because it hadn't had any hits, and I took the word console out of it, and I got a hit on it. And then someone else... Oh no, actually no, that's not what happened. I did get a hit on it, and I found it. Someone was selling one that they'd bought 20 years previously and had never got to work, but it was in pretty much mint condition in a box. And because I had never seen it before, I thought I better get it, because God knows when the next one was going to turn up. And so I got that one and I cleaned it up, and that's in its box and in nice minty condition, and it's going to stay that way. Ah, oh, so lucky. Oh, not anymore. And then I looked at the search, and I took the word console out and found that someone had another one for sale, but that had misspelt the word console. I'm going to die because he's going to catch me on the vertical. Ah. Damn, this is hard. And had spent it with a console with a U instead of an O. Ah, he's going to catch me again. And so I bought that one, which is not in such good condition, but I thought I could do it up. And that's actually this machine here, the one that I'm playing. And it's relatively easy to restore. I like working on them. It's easy to composite mod. The controllers are actually they're hardwired, but they're actually connected internally, so you can pretty much get everything off the board. The board's kind of weird. There's a lot of things a lot of kind of jumper wires and things that run over it to various things. But yeah, you should be able to pick up a mint condition one for about 100 and a bit, and just a general purpose one for 50 or 60, I'd say. But as I say, they just don't come up very often at all. And I wonder, you know, I've never seen one modded. Or I think maybe, yeah. So someone from Nightfall Crew modded one, which is where I got the composite mod design from. But I've never seen one for sale. So I mean, if I did one up and got it all ready to play, I'm not sure how much I'd put it on for. I'd probably put it on for 150 or something like that. But you know, it would be all the capacitors would be changed and the voltage regulator, and it would all be tested and ready to go and converted to composite video, so you can plug it into a modern TV or an HDMI upscaler. Yeah, and all cleaned. I think I'd probably put it on for about 150. I don't think that's unfair. Anyway, I probably wouldn't play it on this hardest mode. I'd probably play it on an easier mode than this. But with all of these different options, I can see how people would get good at it. I wonder about the controllers actually. Now that I've played it quite a bit, how much punishment they would actually withstand. I mean, I don't think this. I guess this one was used quite a bit before I got it, but it still works pretty well. And yeah, I like this machine. One of the things that I'd like to do is have a look at Star Chess. I know. Lee and I talked about maybe trying to play an actual game of Star Chess at some point. But I also discovered, or remembered really, that Waddington's and VideoMaster had also made a dedicated Star Chess console, which I think is the same game. So I need to kind of check that. But Star Chess for the Emerson, I think, is the same game as Star Chess that comes on its dedicated VideoMaster console, which I actually have one of, but I've never managed to get it to work. So that's something to look into maybe as well. Anyway, I'm going to call it quits there. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you can stitch these two streams together, and I hope you enjoyed having a look at Cat Trax, which, you know, may well be the best game on this platform for all I know. As I say, I don't have that many games for it. I would really like to get a multi-cart for it, but there is someone who makes them, but I don't think they're available right now. So in the next round of making multi-carts, I'll make sure I get an order in and try some more games out. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Have a great Easter Sunday. I'll see you all soon.